Bradford City have today confirmed their second departure of the 2026 January transfer window, and that is in the way of club legend Andy Cook, who has departed after 5 years as a Bantam. He joins League 2 side Grimsby Town on loan for the remainder of this campaign. If you do go on to enjoy today's video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, can we try and hit 300 likes on today's video? And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below. I feel like this transfer video will be very different to what we usually talk about, because this isn't just a player who's given a year or two service and was decent for that time. And it would be sad, we've had players like that have moved on over the last couple of years, but this for me I think is the most heartbroken I've ever felt around a transfer departure since probably Naki Wells joining Huddersfield. As always though, if you are wanting the latest Bradford City transfer news as soon as possible, then the tier 3 channel membership is the best place to be. I brought you this news around Cook departing nearly 3 days ago now. By the time this video comes out, that probably will say 3 days ago. There's already some other transfer news on there as well, so if you're interested in that, the channel memberships is the place to be. But Bradford City's statement does read then, Cook leaves the Bantams. Bradford City AFC can announce Andy Cook has joined Sky Bet League 2 side Grimsby Town on loan for the remainder of the season. Cook, 35, has spent 5 years at the University of Bradford Stadium, initially joining on loan in 2021, where he scored 8 goals in 21 appearances and played a key role in helping the club retain its Football League status. At the end of that campaign, Cook made his stay in West Yorkshire permanent and has since gone on to represent the Bantams on 205 occasions. The Durham-born striker has scored 88 goals for the club, making him City's 4th all-time record goal scorer behind Bobby Campbell, Frank O'Rourke and James Hansen, with 24 assists on top. During the 2022-23 season, the forward found the back of the net on 31 times and was the division's top goal scorer with 28 goals coming in the league. This milestone helped him secure the PFA League 2 Player of the Year and a place in the League 2 Team of the Season. Cook played an important role in last season's promotion to Sky Bet League 1, finishing as City's top scorer with 15 goals in all competitions, and he played about 10 minutes of football in the second half of last campaign. Upon his departure, this could get emotional. Cook said, "The last 5 years have been nothing short of unbelievable. This place has been my home and saying goodbye is incredibly heartbreaking. From the bottom of my heart, thank you to every single one of you for the love and support you have shown me throughout my time here, both on and off the pitch. It never went unnoticed and is something I will carry with me forever. I would like to thank Ryan Sparks for believing in me from the very first moment I walked through the door. To my teammates, both past and present, thank you for the memories, the battles and the brotherhood. Finally, thank you to all the staff, especially those who stood by me during the darkest days when injury tried to break me. I cannot thank you enough. You helped me through moments I will never forget. I will forever be proud and forever grateful." Ryan Sparks, City's Chief Executive Officer, added, "We would like to take this opportunity to thank Andy for his services to Bradford City, having spent almost 5 years with the club and achieved so much. Andy joined us at a very difficult time, along with several others, helped turn that particular season around and save the club from an unthinkable relegation. If Bradford City would have gone down that season, we would potentially be bust as a football club, or we'd still certainly be rotting in non-league. We have a lot to thank Andy Cook for, but the biggest thing was saving us in the second part of that COVID season. Following that, it is safe to say he went on to bigger and better things in Claret and Amber. His goal record speaks for himself, and he has been a wonderful servant for our football club and will certainly never be forgotten. He has provided thousands of people with memories which will last a lifetime and has scored some of the best and most important goals in the club's recent history." Let me know down in the comment section down below. Firstly, what do you think is the best goal that Andy Cook scored in a Bradford City shirt, and also what was your favourite as well, because Cook hasn't got a massive catalogue of goals from 30-40 yards out. He's got a couple and he's very good at that, but what are some of maybe your most favourite goals of Andy Cook? Because I think personally he is the best header of a football in the entire sport. I don't think there's anybody in world football who can header a ball the way Andy Cook can. He's absolutely brilliant of that. Andy showed real bravery to return from an injury which would have been career-ending for many. We would like to thank Andy for his incredible contributions to Bradford City and wish him and his family the very best. I mean, it was only a couple of weeks ago I got the signed Andy Cook print for Christmas, so that's obviously not ideal, but I can do nothing but thank Andy Cook. Like I previously mentioned, he is probably my most favourite player I've had watching Bradford City. He was a real bright spark in a lot of, well, some very, very bad years for Bradford City as a football club. He scored a lot of goals, and obviously being able to do this sort of YouTube thing, I've been able to capture a lot of those in the vlogs as well, and we can always now look back on those memories and what Andy Cook achieved as a Bradford City player. There is obviously certain goals that maybe stand out more than others. I always loved when he would play against a former side, Grimsby being one of them, because he'd get a lot of stick from the fans of one of his former clubs, and he'd always seem to score against them, whether that be Mansfield or Walsall or Barrow or Grimsby or Carlisle as well last season. You know, we had a lot of memorable moments of Andy Cook in a Bradford City shirt. Now, unfortunately, his injury did also coincide with the likes of Patterson and Sarswick returning from injury, and I think there is certainly some of our fans who will claim that Bradford City have played better without Andy Cook. Some would say that we were a League Two side with Andy Cook in our team, but I genuinely do believe Andy Cook didn't get a chance this season. You know, he didn't start a single league game. If he would have got an opportunity this campaign, I don't think we'd be any lower in the table than what we are. Some people will say that he's 35 coming back from an ACL. Does he really deserve that opportunity? And I guess there is more emotions that come into it. Andy Cook is obviously a proven goal scorer, and, you know, he's been here for half a decade. That is a long time. Andy Cook signed for Bradford City when I was 16 probably. I'm now an unk basically, so there is no other word that can be used to describe Andy Cook other than legend. You get these certain phrases that are given towards certain players over the last couple of years. You know, I guess everybody who played a part in our promotion will be some type of legend, but Andy Cook is without a shadow of a doubt a Bradford City legend. You know, the guy's nearly scored 100 goals for the football club, and he had some injuries as well at times. You know, that season when we got to the playoffs and he scored 31 goals in all competitions, that's almost unthinkable when you think about some of the strikers that we had before Andy Cook. There was genuinely a point where fans would be delighted if we signed a striker and they got into double figures. You know, the likes of Dom Polion, for example, and many of those type of strikers in years gone by, your Kai Brunkers, even your Owen Doyles, players like that who maybe came in with bigger expectations and didn't quite deliver. When Andy Cook first signed for Bradford City, looking at our transfer business, I personally, and I'm not even going to lie, at the time was a little bit confused by that. I didn't really understand it, and I guess that's why I sit behind this side of the camera and I'm not probably in Bradford City's office making the big decisions. But obviously Cook came in and he just made himself a legend. You know, he had a point to prove and he scored a lot of goals in Amber and Claret, and Andy Cook for me will never be forgotten as a Bradford City player. You know, that man is an absolute legend, and even this season I really wish he got more of an opportunity to prove himself, because there's no better version of Andy Cook than when he's got a point to prove. Let's not forget that season where he scored 31 goals. Verdane Oliver was starting over him at the beginning of that campaign, which maybe says more about Mark Hughes than Andy Cook, but he had a point to prove and he certainly proved it in that campaign. Then following that, there was a lot of people going to say, well, Andy Cook certainly can't replicate that. If he gets 10-12 goals, they'll be happy with that. But I think he hit 20 maybe in all competitions, and I'm pretty sure I got double figures for assists as well. Obviously last campaign, first half of the season, he was carrying us on his back at times when we had so many injuries. We were missing massively key players, the likes of Patterson and Sarswick, who, as we saw in the second half of the campaign, played a massive part in our success. And ultimately, I think Bradford City got promoted a lot earlier than what we did if Andy Cook was still available. I think Bradford City would be no lower than third in League One right now if Andy Cook played more games for Bradford City. But unfortunately, the decision has been made that Andy Cook, it's time for him to move on. And from the point of view was, he's probably on big money, let's be honest. And as we know, he hasn't been included in a matchday squad since November. We also know that he's not started a single league game for us so far this campaign. And Bradford City have had this ruthless streak in them over the last couple of years. And I know there is a big emotional part to play here. And I am devastated that it has ended like this and Andy Cook hasn't really had that opportunity to prove himself at League One level. But from a non-emotional standpoint and looking at the bigger picture, it now obviously frees up a bit of room in our budget to go out and try and sign somebody who maybe suits Alexander's system a little bit better. I always liked the option of having Andy Cook on off the bench because he gave a completely different option to Kavanagh, Swan and Humphreys. What Andy Cook can do with the ball, if you put a cross anywhere near the opposition penalty area, is he will go and attack it and he'll win win that header. Look at the goal that he scored at home to Newport last campaign. Jay Ben puts a cross into the box and it's a couple of yards behind him. He manages to lean and get perfect power and accuracy to get it right into the top corner, and that goal just absolutely sums up what Andy Cook is. Is he the most technical footballer we've ever seen at Bradford City? Probably not, but the man is a proven goal scorer, and like I say, Bradford City had so many years of bad striker after bad striker after bad striker. Andy Cook came in and he gave us something to believe in again, and he played a massive part in our success over the last couple of years. Unfortunately, now it has been decided that it is the right time for him to move on, and like I say, if he's not going to play, hasn't been in a squad since November, probably on big money, then it does make sense from that point of view to be ruthless and look to try and move him on. Grimsby have obviously got themselves an absolutely outstanding footballer with some of the wingers they've got. Charles Vernon crossing into Andy Cook seems like an absolute joke at that level. Grimsby are definitely promoted. You know, if I was a gambling man, which I'm not, I would put a lot of money on Grimsby getting promoted. They've got pretty much a full former Bradford City side as of right now, but they've got the best striker in the division and they are absolutely going up. There's no doubt in my mind Andy Cook hits double figures. If he doesn't pick up a single injury, Andy Cook definitely hits double figures between now and the end of the campaign, because he's not just got a point to prove from, well, I'm now returning from my injury, because he didn't really get to prove that point at Bradford City. He's now got to prove the point of he can still do it post-injury, which I have no doubt he will do. And then he's also got a little bit of a point to prove maybe to Graham Alexander that maybe it wasn't the right decision to let me go. If we have a look then at Andy Cook's 2025-26 campaign, as we know, he did manage just 8 sub appearances, not a single league start, playing a total of 220 minutes. And for a man of his age to be averaging 28 minutes per game, to be playing a third of even the total amount of games that we've played, I know obviously he had his injury, but that's nowhere near enough for him, and it does make sense from his point of view as well to go out and play some regular first team football. As we know, he unfortunately didn't get a league goal this campaign, but he did still register 1 assist away at Rotherham for Alex Patterson's goal. Obviously both of them have now moved on from Bradford City, created 2 big chances, averaged 1 key pass per game, and the most important thing for me is 61% of his aerial duels, and I do think Bradford City are now going to massively miss Andy Cook, not from a goal scoring point of view, but I always felt one of his most underrated attributes was his ability to defend from corners. He was always at the front post, and he was so important and integral from us not conceding from set pieces, and I do think that is now going to be a big blow for Bradford City. Obviously defensively, because he's hardly played, hasn't brought you loads, but you look at the games that he's played. At home to Exeter came on and helped see the game out. At home to Burton, when he came on, our performance levels improved. Same as Lincoln, same as Stevenage. Can't remember off the top of my head against Barnsley, but prior to that one came on off the bench against Rotherham and played really well. Obviously played against Blackpool as well, and I'm pretty sure he came on off the bench against Huddersfield. But in 6 out of the 8 games that he's come on, then Bradford City's performance levels have improved when Andy Cook came on off the bench. I still think he had a point to prove. Unfortunately, the people who make the big decisions at Bradford City don't quite agree with that, and as heartbreaking as it is, and it was quite emotional reading that statement that Andy Cook has given Bradford City. I'm sure the club are going to do loads of videos and all that sort of stuff, and it will be very upsetting to watch. I can understand why now is the right time for all parties to be looking in a different direction. Grimsby have got themselves a great player. We've got some wages off of the wage bill for a player who obviously hasn't been included in a matchday squad for a number of weeks. It does kind of now put to rest the rumours and then the constant bombardment that fans are wanting from the likes of Jamie Rayner and Simon Parker to be asking Alexander. Obviously, he said after the Blackpool game that there was no decisions had been made regarding any players. Obviously, we know Patterson and Cook hadn't been included in a matchday squad for a long time, and obviously Patterson's gone to Walsall, Cook has gone to Grimsby, so we've now got some money to spend, so let's go and spend it on some proven League One quality. But by all accounts, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of loans coming in through the door. If we have a look then at how Bradford City's squad is now lining up for the 2025-26 campaign, as you can see, we are now looking very light in that striker department. Now, there has been some breaking news come out today to suggest that Bradford City are potentially interested in Manchester United striker Ethan Wheatley. Now, he spent last season, I think the second half of it, on loan at Walsall, apparently fell out with a manager, attitude problems. This season was out on loan at Northampton, has scored 3 goals so far this campaign. So do you think a 19-year-old on loan from Manchester United is an adequate replacement for Andy Cook? Let me know what you think about that down below. There's also strong rumours of Harrison Ashby, a right wing back from Newcastle, which, if we're being completely honest, I also did bring you that news a couple of days ago. So again, tier 3 channel memberships, that is the place to be. And also Joe White, who is an attacking midfielder, also from Newcastle. So there are the rumours at the moment. There is still plenty more transfer business to be done, but it does look incredibly strange seeing and looking at the Bradford City squad and not seeing Andy Cook in there, because he's been a big part of Bradford City over the last half a decade. I also think this is very interesting. Andy Cook said that he spoke to David Artell, the Grimsby manager, a few weeks back. So Alexander coming out and saying that, you know, he's not had any conversations with any players post Blackpool. I do think now anything that Alexander says about transfers, as we kind of did know, you've got to take with very much so a pinch of salt, because obviously Cook's not just going to go and be speaking to a load of managers without Bradford City having any idea about that. So anytime that Alexander's asked in his post or pre-match interviews about transfer business, I think this is confirmation that you should take it with a very, very big pinch of salt. Now, I don't want this video to go on for half an hour, for example, but Andy Cook certainly deserves a bigger send-off than what the average Joe does certainly get. And again, I can't do anything more than thank Andy Cook. I'm sure you probably sat the other side of this camera thinking about all the different goals that he scored for Bradford City, and you know, he scored a lot of very good ones, especially in that season where we went on and obviously lost in the playoffs, and that was a very memorable season for Bradford City and Andy Cook himself. And I think he came in with a big point to prove that point to everybody really. And we go back to when Andy Cook signed for Bradford City. That was kind of when I started doing YouTube videos and all that sort of stuff more seriously, and then since then obviously it's progressed into what it is now, and we're able to have these more in-depth conversations where I'm not just an immature 15, 16-year-old who doesn't really understand football, but now that I certainly do, I get it from all parties why this deal has happened. It's obviously very upsetting. Andy Cook will forever be remembered as a Bradford City player and a Bradford City legend as well. Scored so many important goals and just so many goals generally. Absolutely fantastic footballer, and I just can't say thank you to him enough. But anyway, I think I'll leave it there then for today's video. If you have enjoyed this very sad video, please make sure to drop a like on there for me and subscribe to the channel as well. If you are new, 300 likes, as I said at the start of today's video, would be massively appreciated. And don't forget to get your thoughts in down in the comment section down below on this departure. To summarise, Andy Cook, without a doubt, a Bradford City legend and will forever be remembered. But he hasn't been included in a matchday squad since November. So from a footballing point of view of the fact he's not been picked and he probably is one of our higher earners, it does now make sense for him to go out and get that game time that he does deserve. He is without a doubt going to go and smash it at Grimsby. They are a League One football club at next season with the likes of Vernon in their team, Andy Cook, you know, Vernon crossing it in or cutting inside and shooting with Andy Cook stood up front. If Grimsby don't get promoted, I'll be absolutely amazed. But thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you very soon for another video.
Andy Cook! Andy Cook! Andy Cook! Andy Cook! He gets the ball and scores a goal. Andy Cook! Andy Cook! Andy Cook! Andy Cook! He gets the ball, he scores a goal. Andy Cook! He left 'cause you're shit! He left 'cause you're shit! Andy Cook! He left 'cause you're shit! Andy Cook! Andy Cook! Andy Cook! He gets the ball and scores a goal. Andy Cook! Andy Cook! Andy Cook! Andy Cook! He gets the ball and scores a goal. Andy Cook! Andy Cook, he's on my mind, and he sits his number 9 singing do I did it don't did do. Running past defenders, scoring 1 and 2. Looks good, he looks fine. Andy Cook, he's on my mind, and he sits his number 9 singing do I did it don't